People looking to go electric haven't had a lot of choice, especially if they're looking for a bigger car, a more spacious car. Talking about families, company cars, maybe even taxis. A lot of electric cars on the market are SUVs, and they're expensive, 40, 50, 60,000 euro. What you're looking at here is an electric estate. It's not 50,000 euro, it's not 40,000 euro. The MG5 starts at under 30,000 euro. You've probably not heard of the MG5. MG has come back to Ireland in the last couple of years as an electrified brand, and this is its third model. Now, it is purely offered as an estate. There is no saloon version of the MG5. And to put into perspective, this is longer than a Hyundai Tucson. It's also got a very big boot. We'll show you that in a minute. The Irish lineup is quite simple. There are 2 trim levels, and while this model has a smaller battery that had a range of about 345 kilometres, that's actually sold out. And MG Ireland now will only offer a model with a range of 403 kilometres. That's a lot of range for under 30,000 euro. It's not a bad looking car, is it? It's not offensive in any way, a little bit bland maybe, but it's absolutely fine. Now, more importantly, charging up. Behind the MG badge here, you find the charge ports. Most people will charge up at home, obviously, but those that need rapid chargers, be very happy to hear that it does up to 100 kilowatts. That's really good, and actually might work very well for taxis in a rank. Other details. The wheels are quite small, they're quite modest, they're 16-inch alloys, which actually is a good thing for comfort and for range. We'll come back to the comfort later on. Other details, these roof rails, they look smart enough, but apparently they don't hold any weight. And on MG's website it says they're decorative only. That's not so good. Likewise, this car doesn't have any rated towing capacity, so you need to watch out for that. In case you are looking up specs online, you might find details of a facelifted version of the MG5, which is available in some markets. That's not here in Ireland. People who are buying this car will be really interested in space. That's why you buy an estate after all. And the boot is big. Under here, under the luggage cover, it holds 464 litres of luggage. That's a lot. It's quite deep here, there's a big lip. The seats also fold down. They don't fold down completely flat, which is a bit of a shame, but it's still useful enough. And when you get in, it's very much a car. I know we're quite used to SUVs, so maybe it's a bit of a surprise where it's quite low set. The seating position, however, has got loads of adjustment. This one is electric, actually, the top spec. However, I'm not very tall, and if you start rising up the seat, you're going to be touching the roof with your head, which isn't ideal. It is nice and easy to adjust, however. Good news is that the steering wheel does adjust for in and out, up and down. So you can see the instruments very well, you can get comfortable. What we've got here is the top spec model. So you've got this leather style upholstery. It does make the interior look a bit smart. Feels good too, to be fair. And in pictures, actually, the interior does look really good. There are some shortcuts, there are some bits and pieces which aren't amazing, like the touchscreen, the infotainment, which incidentally is standard across the 2 models, isn't the best to use. However, it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Just plug in your smartphone, that's all you need. Saying that, USB ports down here and the connectivity for that, where do you put the phone? There's a slot down here on the side, but it's not really a great place to put it. I suppose that's nitpicking perhaps. What I am impressed by is the fact that there's separate climate controls down here. I know we bang on about it a lot, but it's a safety thing too, not to have the climate control on the touchscreen actually. You want to be able to quickly adjust the temperature or fan speed, whatever, when you're driving. You don't want to have to look down at a touchscreen, find the menu and press it again. Happy that MG is sticking with that. This centre console looks quite nice, doesn't it, with piano black and everything. This is a drive selector, a rotary drive selector. Feels really good quality. It's very simple. Park, neutral, drive and reverse. Above that you have driving modes, so this car's got eco, normal and sport driving modes, and you can adjust the level of brake energy regeneration. The steering wheel itself is quite simple. It's a nice leather trimmed affair, bit of a flat bottom here for some reason, but it all works quite well. It'll be familiar to people driving older Golfs. And the back seats are pretty spacious actually. 3 adults would fit across here, helped by the fact that it's completely flat floor, which is great. Now, this front seat is actually set quite low, and I could just about get my feet under it. If it's up a little bit, it'd be a bit more comfort, but you can see there's loads of knee room there, and plenty of headroom too. It's also worth pointing out that this kind of rectangular opening for the door, and the fact that it opens quite wide, makes it easy to get in here. Could be suitable for a taxi from that point of view. Also in the back, it's got 2 USB ports here, useful for charging up devices. You've got pockets in the back of the seats. It's not bad, is it? Now, you don't buy this MG5 estate, expecting it to be a firecracker on the road. But it's perfectly acceptable. The motor produces 156 horsepower, 260 newton meters of torque, and it's nippy enough. It's actually quite a light car. It's about 1.5 tons, which is considerably less than most of the SUVs. Something like the ID4 and Enyaq and all those are well over 2 tons, so it's much lighter than all those, so it's pretty much as fast as all those. Obviously, as I said, you don't buy it to be fast, you buy it and you don't expect it to be slow. Importantly, it's nippy enough around town, it's pleasant to drive, it's smooth, it's relatively quiet. You can hear the powertrain a bit now, every now and then, the motor whirring away, but it's not intrusive in any way. Steering's quite light, it's simple to drive, you know, you get in, you put it into drive, you steer it. There are 3 different modes, as I mentioned earlier. Eco, if you really want to eke out every kilometre out of your battery. Normal is the one it defaults to, and then Sport if you want a bit more response from the throttle. There are also 3 different energy regeneration modes. It resets to the middle one all the time, and you can up it so it's almost like one pedal driving, we don't have to touch the brake very much. Most people will just jump in and drive it, and it works perfectly fine if you do that. Whatever about the official numbers for the maximum range you'll get, what not a lot of people talk about yet, and they will eventually with electric cars, is the energy consumption. You know, how much charge it uses on average, in the same way we talk about miles per gallon or litres per 100 kilometres for petrol and diesel cars. So in electric cars, it's kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres, so how many kilowatt hours of energy it uses per 100 kilometres. And anything under 20 is pretty good going for a family car, for a biggish car. This one, the MG5, is averaging 14.8 kilowatt hours per 100. That's after nearly 400 kilometers of driving. So we've done motorway, we've done lots of country roads, we've done lots of town driving, a bit of a mix really. So that is a really good result. It means that people can just drive it probably for a week at a time and hardly charge it depending on your commute, etc. And actually it could really suit taxi drivers like we mentioned earlier. In terms of comfort, I mentioned the wheels earlier. They're relatively small, 16-inch alloys. It does mean there's a nice thick cushioning sidewall in the tyres, so it's very comfortable. We're on the country roads here. The roads are a bit bumpy, but it's smooth, it's comfy. It's great on the motorway in that point of view as well. Bigger tyres also help with noise suppression, with road noise suppression, so it just makes it for a comfortable car over a longer distance. So that's our first look at the MG5. There is actually nothing else like it on the market right now, certainly at the price, nothing with this much space. For that price, you could get a Renault Zoe. It's a very good electric car, but this is much bigger. You could actually go for something like a used Nissan Leaf or a used Hyundai Ioniq. Again, they're not quite as big, and this is a new car with a new car warranty. It gets a 7-year warranty. Otherwise, you're talking about big electric SUVs. Now, if you want to go electric, this is a value way to do it. It's not a perfect car by any means, but it is really good value. You could, of course, if you don't want electric, go for something like a hybrid Toyota Corolla estate, and that's about the same price. But if you want an electric car, if you want a big one, and you don't want to spend a fortune, the MG5 is well worth a look.